What's up, everybody? My name's Slinky here, and guys, I made a promise that I would do a video about how I was able to figure out the whole pattern of the event that had happened for Easter. I am now getting around to that, and this is actually a full-blown analysis of how I was able to figure this out, and this is only going to show about 85% of the eggs that were the server on the server event, guys. So this is not including the event area, so I cannot declare the event area all that well, but I will include the shopping area, the shopping district. How I was able to figure out, and how I believe there were two specific eggs that were happening, or two specific specific lines of code that happened. And guys, I want to tell you right now, there was a pattern. I think some players probably were like, well, there might have been a pattern. It might have happened. Well, I can tell you right now that the start is always going to be in the front here. I'll show you. I'll zoom in for you guys. So right here, I'll just take this off. Right here in this central area, this is where you spawn, guys. This was where number 1 was. Either 1, 2, sometimes you'd have back-to-back, sometimes they were in a little bit different combos, but they would always spawn there. So the first ones were always spawning there. And what's also wild, guys, is you guys see how there's so many eggs up here in this corner? Well, the way it got up to here is actually through this little platform here. So before I even get to this, guys, this is a very long and deep and of the depth analysis. So expect a longer video than my normal 2 to 5 minute videos of the history of Bloom. This is just something that I thought was interesting that I actually wanted to explain beforehand. I just want to let you guys know that this spawn platform was number 1, or was number 1. One of these 2 eggs would spawn in those respected spots. They were always in the front or diagonal to you. They were never to the side. So that's what I had noticed. But they were always in the corners of spawn. Well, guys, how did I know where the next egg would be? Well, there's a combination of two factors here. Number 1, the direction it goes. With this whole graph, there was outside of the spawn area, which it always went to the right. Outside of that, it always had a chance to go left or right. So if you're facing spawn, let's say you're facing this direction, it could go left or right. Well, most of the time it would go left, because you guys can see how clumped these eggs are. Like, there's like probably 15 to 20 different spots here alone, on just here alone. Well, there was a chance where it could go right or left. Let's say it went left. Left up to what I call the avenues, or the houses on like a little hill. Well, guys, it would always hit one of these houses, and then a secondary thing would happen. And that is, it would just either go to the right or the left, but it would always stay in a specific area. So it would sometimes jump. Let's say it was, I can't really zoom in here, guys, because there's too many things that, from this picture. But you guys can see that there's a lot of places it could have went right or left, but just staying up here in what I call the avenues. Well, guys, if it chose to go left, it often actually went left. So let's say it went, into one of the houses, toward the top section, right? And then it would go down. It would be up here, let's say in the top section of the avenue area. It would then come down to one of the other houses. So it would actually stay in the avenue area, or there's a chance it would go down. If it didn't go down toward the portals, it went down, and that's kind of where you start playing the guess game. So you start guessing. Okay, if you have 2 or 3 people, you could just stick to a specific area, and then you totally get all the eggs. It was actually very simple, honestly. When I was with my current fiance, I said, hey, go to X area, and I'll go to X area. It cannot be in that same spot. So it was never in the same spot. There were a couple back-to-back spots, and that kind of surprised me. But the way I figured it out personally was how this boat right here, next to this little house, there's a little library area right here in this egg right here. Well, it came over the spawn here. I was still on normal pattern, guys, before I really figured it out. It comes over here. You guys can't see, but this egg, this E here. This is actually where a little well is. So there actually was a spawn right there, honestly, on the little stairwell. Well, guys, it double backed, and I actually want to talk about this. This is actually how I figured out how the pattern went. If with this pattern that I saw, it went here to this boat, it came to this little well area, and it went back to the boat, and I said, there might be a pattern here. Let's see if it's over by, up in the avenue area. It was in the avenue area, guys. So I said, okay, if it's here, then if it's going this specific direction, it must be, staying here for a minute, and it was. And then it went over to the portal, and I found it, and it came all the way around here to this area right here. Not the bad area, but it came over here. Sometimes it jumped, guys. My theory was, it jumps in areas sometimes, but it doesn't always do that. If you couldn't find it in that area, it was in the next area, and someone likely found it because they probably thought they were lucky, but it was in the next area. So sometimes, guys, it was here in the avenue area, and it would sometimes jump over to this far end area over here. I'll move this over for you guys. Over here to the house, to the farming area is what I called it. The windmill that Hawk made, or it could have been on one of these other spots. And sometimes it was in the house, sometimes it was here in the house, sometimes it was on the little azalea bush, or these other couple spots that are here that were in the house. There were a couple spots there, etc., etc., etc. And so then you said, okay, maybe the next one is over here in this area, because that's how the pattern kind of went for me. So it sometimes, though, jumped back to this area. Why would it do that, guys? Well, they want to make it look like it's random. It's like, oh, this is totally erratic. Sometimes there was erratic movement, and it really was wild, honestly. Sometimes that happens, but sometimes it came here, from here to here, and then come here, and you're like, what's going on here, right? And sometimes it go from here, or the pattern usually would go from here up to here, up into this area. And there's a chance where it'd be in the 3 spots respectively, or the 4 spots respectively. Well, guys, there's 2 opportunities. There's 2 options here. Number one, you guys can't see it down here, but you see this little path down here where my scroll is? Well, that's also where the shopping district leads to. This is how, if it was here, guys, there was a chance it would go to the shopping district. To the shop, the admin shop. You guys can't see it here, but sometimes it would go over there, trickle there, sometimes it would be there, and then it would come back to here, and so you'd have a back to back to back, and sometimes I would hit 2, 3 in a row here, because that's how the pattern kind of went. So it would come here. The bridge was the connector, guys. So treat this kind of as like little places where they're connecting each other like a story. If they're going to, let's say, I'm going to mute this first. Let's say, it came over here. It's like a story. It's like it's like a merchant, a merchant, or, someone, passing on the egg, to the next person kind of thing, whatever. And so when it comes here, it sometimes jumps back. This was the area where you knew if it would go one direction or the opposite direction. It's like, or it would go to the shopping district and then it would jump back, because that's how it worked. Well, guys, this is the area that I said, this is how I knew it would jump one direction or another. It would go back and forth between this area, and it looks random, guys. I'm not kidding. But this was the staple of how I knew that the specific direction it was going. Well, sometimes it would jump over to this area, and then, but based on how it said, it would jump back the opposite way, and so you had a weird horseshoe pattern happening. Sometimes it would go around a little bit more, but it would always jump back the opposite direction. So this was always the concern for me of which direction is this going, right? Well, with this all being said, guys, sometimes we couldn't find the egg, because it was likely here in this spot, way down here, which you can't even see. That's where the rainbow beacons are, where that E is right there, that egg. Sometimes that's where it would be, but you would always see the pattern just kind of come back. It'd come back this direction. That's kind of the oversimplistic analysis, but I couldn't figure out where it ended, but I knew this spawn area where you spawn in to the spawn area, that was always the first spot, and it always was there. So it's an interesting analysis, but that's how I was able to figure out. I used the boat was kind of the big one for me, guys, but when it comes to which direction it was going, this was always the question mark. Which direction will it go? Will it keep going this way, or will it go to the shopping district, or will it double back? So like sometimes it went all the way around. Like there was one time where it made it all the way up to like here, starting here kind of thing. And it was always it was like this weird horseshoe pattern, like I explained. But it was always the same ways. It was the same. You start figuring out the same places, and so you then you kind of figure it out. But this was kind of the question mark of which direction was it going for me, and that's how I figured out the directional. And so when I was able to figure out which direction it was going, I just knew which direction it was going, because this area, there's 3 places, 1, 2, and 3, right? There's 3 chances it could move up, right, right, left, or over the bridge. So, and if it was over the bridge, you had to go look at the shopping district, because sometimes it was not over here and it was not here, because the shopping district was just that little connection. Later on, I started to learn that when this side of the map, when the I'm trying to think what it is, when the egg didn't spawn in the event area, it was on this side of the map. That was just something I started to notice, but I don't have any physical evidence of directional if there's any direction of where it goes. But that was the pattern of spawn, guys, and I had it to a T. I had it down. It's just I had to get the eggs at that point. You could be super knowledgeable all you want, guys, but if you don't know the whole pattern or the whole thing, it doesn't do you any good. You still have to go find the eggs, or you have to go find the presents or whatever. And so that's the analysis that you guys were probably looking for, honestly. So the spawn was always the first spot from this event I had noticed, and it always jumped to the bridge to this area, and then it scattered right or left, and then whatever from there. But I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis of how this worked. Again, whoever coded this, I hope it was one of the admins, guys. This was beautifully coded, and I just loved it. So I appreciate the staff members for doing this. This was such a fun event. Even though I got 4th place, guys. Many people thought I would win, but I got 4th place. But it was so fun to figure it out that I had to explain where the question mark of the direction it would go. So it was interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of video. If you guys do want more analytical videos, I'll try to find something out there for on Bloom, but I just wanted to share this with you guys because I thought it was interesting. And then staff members could say, yeah, he actually did figure it out, or oh no, he didn't actually figure it out. But I wanted to share what I had figured out, and I actually do believe I had figured it out. And because of this, expect a different pattern, guys, because this analysis video is going to be obsolete probably in the next event. So my name is I'm a Slinky, and I hope you guys enjoyed.